Welcome to Cinema Snapshots, a channel where we take a look at the latest films and their predecessors. We'll give you an in-depth look at what's new in the world of film and discuss the key elements of the films, from plot synopsis to the most memorable moments. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. West Africa, 1823, an opening crawl states that the kingdom of Dahomey has crowned a young king, Gezo, John Boyega. Their enemies, the Oyo Empire, have teamed up with the Mahi people to capture Dahomey villagers and give them to European slave traders. The Oyo have an advantage with their guns and horses. The Dahomey have a group of female Amazon warriors, the Agogia, led by General Naniska, Viola Davis, who are set to protect their kingdom. The Agogia infiltrate a Mahi village, slaughtering the soldiers before coming across the captured villagers and freeing them. In the morning, the Agogia mourn their dead and escort the captives back home. The warriors return home before more Oyo arrive, where Gezo considers Naniska to be his most trusted soldier. A young woman, Nyawi, Thuso Mbito, is brought to a man who would marry her, even though he is older and brutish. When Nyawi doesn't respond to the man, he slaps her, and she responds by pushing him hard enough for him to fall over. He is angered and refuses to marry her. Nyawi's father brings her to the Agogia and offers her to the king. She is taken in by an Agogia soldier, Izogi, Lashana Lynch. Oyo soldiers, led by General Oba Ade, Jimmy Otakoya, come across the corpses of their comrades. Oba Ade insults them for letting their fellow soldiers get murdered by women, and they plan their next move against Dahomey. Gezo addresses his council to discuss the Oyo threat. Naniska also brings up the slave trade and says it casts a dark shadow on their kingdom to be selling off their own people. She proposes that they deal in gold or palm oil for trading. Gezo tells Naniska to show him how much palm oil they can produce before he makes his decision. Naniska's right-hand woman Amenza, Sheila Adim, addresses the new Agogia recruits, telling them they will fight and potentially die for their kingdom. Several women leave, but a large group, including Nyawi, choose to stay. Izogi then tells Nyawi to go bathe, so she does and speaks personally to Naniska. The women begin their training. Nyawi does not understand why they begin with ropes, feeling she should start with a bladed weapon until Naniska allows her to try on a wood statue to decapitate it. The sword is too heavy for Nyawi, and Naniska chops the head off with one swing. At night, Izogi speaks to Nyawi and talks about how her mother allowed men to abuse her until she fought back. The women continue training later on by running, firing rifles, and learning combat skills. Nyawi plays a prank where she sets off a small explosive on one of the statues. She takes the blame for it as Naniska chastises her for it. Later, Izogi tells Nyawi about how Naniska's deeds are considered legendary since she rose up to her ranks after being a captive left for dead. Amenza visits Naniska in her hut, then tells her, using special nuts, that she sees somebody from Naniska's past coming back for her. Outside, Naniska watches as Nyawi practices her sword-wielding skills on one of the statues. The Oyo arrive at the kingdom's gates for a confrontation with Gezo. When Oba Ade steps forward, Naniska becomes horrified, as Oba Ade raped her repeatedly when she was a captive. They order tributes and demand 40 Agogia warriors, but Gezo only allows 20. Naniska tells Amenza that her vision was true. Portuguese settlers arrive in Africa, led by Captain Santo Ferreira. Hero finds Tiffin, and his friend Malik, Jordan Bolger. When Malik sees the captured natives, he feels horrified. The men join the scene as the Agogia confront the Oyo. Naniska says they will not give them tributes and instead delivers Oba Ade the severed heads of his men. A fight breaks out between the two tribes, wherein Nyawi sees an opportunity to free the captives, which Naniska says deviates from their plan. After they escape, Naniska chews Nyawi out for it, but Amenza privately tells Naniska that it was she who deviated from the plan, as she was more concerned with killing Oba Ade. Ferreira and Malik meet with Oba Ade and his soldiers as they are discussing plans for the Oyo to team up with other tribes to invade Dahomey and capture more villagers to sell off. Malik appears uncomfortable with the news. He later goes by the water to bathe, where he is found, in the nude, by Nyawi. She accuses him of being a slaver, but he denies it and tells her about his Dahomey heritage. He gives her a piece of jewelry before she retreats back to the others. The kingdom holds a small tournament where the Agogia trainees go through an obstacle course involving thorn bushes, climbing a wall, fighting enemies, and finally decapitating one of the statues. Nyawi comes out as the victor, and Gezo acknowledges her skill and talent. Later, while tending to Nyawi's wounds, Naniska feels something on the girl's arm. She goes back to her room and is followed by Amenza, as Naniska asks her about a child that she had given up long ago, because she is beginning to suspect that Nyawi might be that child. Ferreira speaks to Gezo about his plans to potentially cease Dahome's part in the slave trade, telling him that his riches come from the slaves, and without them, his kingdom would be nothing and unprotected. Gezo retorts that if the Europeans are no longer of use to him, then they are also unprotected. Izogi senses that Nyawi might like Malik after watching them speak discreetly while Ferreira was talking to Gezo. They later meet in secret, where Nyawi gives Malik a totem to keep him safe. When he says that he has nothing to give her, she simply takes one of his knives. Nyawi goes to bathe and encounters Naniska, who chastises her for sneaking off for Malik. After arguing, Naniska approaches Nyawi and tells her about the baby she gave up. She was a product of rape, and Amenza helped Naniska hide her and give her away. Naniska remembers cutting the child's left arm and sticking a shark tooth in it. Naniska cuts into Nyawi's arm and pulls out the tooth, confirming that Nyawi is indeed her daughter, and therefore the daughter of Oba Ade as well. Nyawi leaves in disbelief. The following morning, Naniska and some of her soldiers keep an eye out on the Oyo camp. They set fire to their gunpowder and cause multiple explosions, scaring their horses away and leaving them vulnerable. The Agogia launch an attack, leading to a fierce and bloody battle that leaves many Oyo and Agogia dead, and leads to some of the women, including Izogi and Nyawi, to get captured. On a wagon heading away, Nyawi finds out woman's binds have come loose, and she encourages her to roll off the cart and run back to Dahomey. While captive, Nyawi helps Izogi try to fix her broken arm. The young woman returns to Dahomey and informs Naniska about the Oyo's plan to retaliate against the Agogia. Gezo promotes Naniska but forbids her from acting any further, but she and Amenza go behind his back to rescue the others. When the European slavers come for the captives, Izogi and Nyawi initiate a fight against them, but Izogi is fatally shot and dies in Nyawi's arms as she wails for her sister. Nyawi is imprisoned, but Malik goes to visit her and tells her how the captives are bound for England, and he wishes to protect her. They are implied to make love after. Naniska leads the warriors into the Europeans' camp for an attack. They set fire to their camp and attack the men before freeing the captives. Malik turns on Ferreira and frees the captives, causing them to drag him into the water, where they beat him and hold his head underwater until he drowns. Nyawi helps Naniska engage in battle as she finally goes to face off against Oba Ade. The man attempts to beat Naniska, but she overpowers him and impales him, finally killing him. Everyone returns home, and Nyawi parts ways with Malik. The Agogia return home with their captives, and Naniska is confronted by Gezo. While he acknowledges that she disobeyed his orders, he is thankful to her for ending the Oyo Empire and officially promotes her to the title of Woman King. Everyone cheers for her. Nyawi goes to pay tribute to Izogi, and she is joined by Naniska. She then addresses Nyawi as her daughter. The two then go join the others to dance in celebration. Thank you for watching Cinema Snapshots. Subscribe to more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help this channel out.